Leicester 2, Manchester United 2. Disappointing results. We didn't lose, we got the points. I think on the balance of the whole game, it's probably the deserved result. I'm not going to be starting to say here that we played badly or poorly. I don't think that. Although Leicester City had, in certain parts, control of the game, I don't think they created that many clear chances, but for the goals that they scored, which I'll talk about in a bit. I certainly think that when we brought Paul Pogba on and certainly Cavani, that made a difference. And I think there is something to be said about that. But even then, before Paul Pogba and Cavani, Martial, in particular Rashford, had very good chances that, again, they need to be clinical, they need to put them away. We've said that so many times. First minute, if Rashford heads that into the net, you might say it's even a different game, to be honest. But then, via Bruno Fernandes, we get that equaliser, assist to Rashford, boom. Then Bruno Fernandes, mostly at fault, I think, for losing the ball up top. Although McTominay should have gotten a bit closer. Maybe Maguire could have come across, but it's a good finish by Harvey Barnes. And to be honest, whatever you say about Leicester, they played well, they defended well. Shout out to, I think, Justin and Fofana coming in. I think they were solid at the end of the day, and we found it difficult. But it was 1-1 going into the second half. We obviously made the changes. Lindelof came up with injury, which I think is a bit concerning. Obviously, now our players starting to drop a bit. I'm hoping that Wan-Bissaka will be back. I won't play Lindelof against Wolves. So you go to your Bailly and Maguire. I think Bailly had a okay game, although before I even go to that, the second goal, obviously, Cavani comes on, brilliant assist for him. He's really doing bits, and it's a shame that Cavani isn't younger, because if he was younger and he was fitter, he should start every game. You put Rashford on the right, you put Martial on the left, you put Cavani through the middle. Alternate between maybe playing Cavani on the left. But because obviously of his record, you can't play every single game. But as soon as he's come on, instant impact, assist, goal, boom. We're 2-1. We're love and life. Manchester United. And then, defensively, and this was the thing, unfortunately, that there was always known as Manchester United. And this has been the story of Manchester United all season, is that going forward, we can do bits. I bet we need to be a lot more clinical. And I think right now, if we're going to challenge, or if we're going to do what we're doing, unless we sign a top-class centre-back in January, we have to score more goals than we can see. We're essentially Liverpool 2-3 years ago, where they were scoring more goals than we can see. We need to score more goals than we can see, because we are going to concede goals. I said that in my preview against Leicester. I said that in my preview against Leeds. We will concede goals. I cannot remember the last time we kept a clean sheet, to be honest. We will concede. Aside from in the Carabao, just gone, I can't remember in the league the last time we haven't actually conceded a goal, So it was on track to being 2-1, and then of course that incident happened. For me, maybe you could argue that's Bailly, because Bailly looks like he loses Vardy. Someone needs to mark Jamie Vardy. I don't know, or maybe it's his position. I don't know. It does come off a bit of a deflection of Twan who's unlucky. You can't do anything about it, but I think that's a lot to do with our marking and also Vardy's play. And I think that's it. I think Leicester were probably happy to come away with a point. I think we're certainly disappointed. I think we should. I'm not going to go into... I don't think this is the time to say, we're playing badly or something. I don't think we did. As far as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer selection goes, you could argue... I think the only glaring thing would be just Daniel James. I think that, it's the same old story where I think that Daniel James is good against teams that are going to give us space, like a City or like a Leeds. But Leicester City weren't going to give us that much space, and you just showed the lack of football intelligence that Daniel James has. To be fair, he did help to get the to contribute for the first goal and passing it to Bruno and then giving it obviously to Rashford. But for me, I just think that if you're going to go from here going forward, you play Rashford, Cavani, Martial, or someone else on the right, because unless it's a game where there's a lot of space, Daniel James is just not that effective. And he was taken off because he wasn't that effective. And you're just not going to... Against Wolves, against Villa, you don't play Daniel James. I'm sorry. So maybe Ahmad guy that's coming in January might be able to do a job for us. I don't know. But again, disappointing 2-2. I really thought that we could win this game, and we were on track to winning it, bar conceding in the 80-something minute. But we moved. We've got Villa and Wolves, which we should beat, hopefully, although Wolves is at home, and take things from there. I think if other rivals win their games, we might end up out of the top 4 scene. But again, we still have a game in hand. We did get the points, so if we're talking about a title challenge, if Liverpool win, which I think they will be, I don't know, 6 points behind the game in hand. I can't remember, something like that. But anyway, guys, let me know what your thoughts on the comments. If you think that what your thoughts are on the game. I don't want to be reactionary with this, to be honest, because I think that actually, to be honest, compared to when we played against West Ham, Southampton, and certainly other teams the way this season early on, we actually played okay. We were quite comfortable. I didn't think that we were being dominated by Leicester, and for all the possession that Leicester had in certain parts, they didn't really create anything. They didn't really create much, aside from the goals they scored. So we'll see what happens going into the next game. Thankfully, it's not too long for the next game, which is going to be on Monday, and we go again. Take care, guys, and cheers.